Yeah, buddy. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Washington Football Weekly. If you didn't know this is your first time here, we're glad that you are able to join us. And we're going to have a little fun real quick. You've all seen those little posts on Facebook and on Instagram that, have certain tiers with like a dollar sign next to it. And they say, hey, pick your team. Who do you think?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to do that for Washington. Right, you got it out right here. You see, there's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, but we're gonna go by position.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we're gonna start off, Will, with quarterback. Man, we got some great ones here. Will, what are you thinking, man? Where would you go at QB?
All right, to build my $15 squad here, you have to go. This one you actually have to spend some money on because 3, 2, and 1 is not very good. So I'm going with my $5 guy. I'm going Sonny Jurgensen.
Okay. Oh, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. Don't be fooled. You see the hat. I love Tar Heels, but I'm not when you have these two legends on top. And love Brunell. Love what he brings, and don't even get me started on Sexy Rexy. But I'm going actually with the $4 spot here. I'm going Sammy Ball, man. I just think he's one of those slinging Sammy that could potentially play in any era. So I love that. I love where he's going. What are we doing next for running back, man? What are you thinking? I think we're different on this one.
We do. So I'm going with the $3 Stephen Davis. All right.
Ooh, okay.
Because Stephen Davis is one of those players, like one of the big, like what ifs guys that we let go away. I think if Stephen Davis had played his entire career in Washington, we would probably be talking about him as the greatest running back in Redskins history, above Riggins, especially with the numbers, because he was doing well under Norv Turner. Okay, so we had him for 3-4 years. He had a good season under Steve Spurrier, but he was set up to be our bell cow. He was set up with Marty. Him and Marty would have rode together for a while. So he did well in Spurrier's first year, and then Spurrier got rid of him. But then he would have been perfect for Joe Gibbs' offense as well. Yeah. He was set up for that, that ground and pound. He was with us for 3-4 seasons of doing real well. Then he went to Carolina for another 3-4 seasons. So out of his, 8 or 9 seasons in the league where he was really, a starter, if we could have had him the whole time, I really think we would have had a perennial Pro Bowler, perennial All-Pro. And he just, we cut him or let him go as a free agent when we shouldn't have. And so his numbers in Washington are as high as they could have been.
Right. And look, we saw what he did. Where did he go? He went to Carolina, helped him to get to a Super Bowl, Yeah, we saw what he was able to do after leaving Washington. So I love that pick. I absolutely love it. But I don't deal in wishes because if wishes were fishes, we ain't even going down that road. I'm going with, this is where I'm taking my $5. I'm going with, give me that diesel. Whoop, that diesel. Give me some John Riggins. Have to. 4th and 1, 70 chip, man, for the championship. Love this guy. Mm-hmm. He's a bruiser. He one of the last real true fullbacks when fullbacks were dominant. He's the last of a dying breed. I know you got a couple guys now that are fullbacks, but Riggo was one of those guys this was back when fullbacks were more they were getting more notoriety than the actual tailback. The tailback was just secondary. He could take over a game. You can give it to him legitimately 20, 30, almost 40 times a game, and he would still carry the load, hit just as hard the first time as he did the last time. So, yeah, that's where I'm going. Next, wide receiver. Will, this is somewhere that kind of had me going back and forth. Where do you think you're going to do at wide receiver?
I'm dipping down to the $1 range, Jamison Crowder. I think he is poorly marked there. I would think that maybe, I guess he didn't play as long in DC as Randall L. maybe had, but Jamison Crowder's best years were when he was in DC. Now, part of it had to do with the offense. Jay Gruden's offense could utilize 3 wide receivers and featured the slot, which is what he does really well. And then when he went to the Jets and went to the Bills, I just don't think those offenses had enough use of additional weapons. And so we made the mistake of letting him go. He made the mistake of going elsewhere and getting a little bit more money. I think he could have had a continuance of his career here in DC had they come together. But we made a lot of mistakes with those wide receivers, letting Deshaun Jackson, Pierre Garcon, and Jamison Crowder go in 2 consecutive years, and then we did a bad job of replacing them. So, but this is just another guy where 2 times in a row, my examples where he left and the grass, we could have done more if he had stayed here. Yeah,
no, absolutely. Mine is going to be the $2. I'm going Randall L. Another one of the guys you said. He was so versatile. He was so huge with us. We saw what he did when he left and went to the Steelers. Was able to dominate out there and, get himself a Super Bowl. But I thought was so dynamic, but it goes exactly like what you were saying, we got a little bit out of him, but we definitely didn't get as much as the Pittsburgh did, the gadget plays and things they were able to do with their offense. So I love Randall L, and I think I definitely have to take him on this one.
Yep.
What is your next position? Because there is, what do we have? Defense?
Pass rusher. Yeah. Defensive lineman or linebacker. So this surprised me. This really surprised me because I loved this guy when he was here. I've been critical of this guy ever since he left and since he was around. I picked LeVar Arrington.
Yeah.
All right. And so, LeVar was one of those guys where he made, he never lived up to the number 2 overall pick Penn State hype that he had, but he was a good player with us, and he made flashes of being a great player at times. And overall, I'd say he had a good career in DC, but he never became that dominant player. However, my mind changed this past week when I was listening on the Kevin Sheehan Show podcast. Fred Smoot said, had LeVar Arrington played in a 3-4, he would have been a Hall of Fame player. And I started thinking back to that one year when we had Marvin Lewis in Steve Spurrier's first year, and he played LeVar as a defensive end hybrid outside linebacker, and he had about 10 or 11 sacks. And so I was like, you know what? Fred might be right that he was just played out of position, and being a stand-up linebacker, read and react was not the position for him, but that's what he played here. He was good under Marty, with Marty's brother Kurt running it. He was good with Marvin Lewis. And then he kind of had a falling out with Greg Williams. And him and Joe Gibbs had a much more disciplined defense. And LeVar wanted to freelance. LeVar wanted to go get the quarterback. And so that didn't jive. And I think as a result, LeVar was really upset that he never had, lived up to his potential, and has been bitter with DC ever since. And so I've been tired of hearing him on local radio when he did it. I got tired of when he went out to LA and kept bashing the team. So in that sense, but I'm going to run a 3-4 defense with LeVar on my team. So I'm going to make him the dominant linebacker he could have been.
Do the way that we should have done it in Washington. Yeah. But when we go pass rush, man, I need a dominant force. And look, for the last couple of years, it has been kind of frustrating. And we talked and just lived off the phrase bend but don't break. But there has been one force in that defense over the last couple of years that has been absolutely a dominant force, has been a lone bright spot for us outside of our punter. This guy has been the guy, and at pass rush, I mean, he's not at a maybe more familiar pass rush position. He's not on the edge. He comes from the middle. I got to go Jonathan Allen with the $3 spot here. I mean, look, we paid him, and we did it early, and it was perfect that we did. He opens up the lane. He requires so much attention up the middle and pushes that pocket that those guys on the edge, it doesn't necessarily have to be Chase or Montez. We could have Bradley Smith, James Smith Williams. Mm-hmm. We can have those guys come around the edge and name, new guys just come on in. He is a force. He's a leader. I love him. I have to have him right there in the middle of my defense. So
yeah, he's so good. The leader part too is a huge step up there.
Oh yeah. So, and last but not least, secondary?
Secondary. You go with this one.
I am going. Who is that? I'm not doing Reed Dowdy. Who's the guy in the middle?
Cam Curl.
Cam on the bottom, on the one?
Oh, the one? That's Reed Dowdy.
No, in the middle. I gotta look it on. Give me a second.
It goes Green, Taylor, Curl, Carlos Rogers, and Reed Doughty. How much money do you have to spend? You only get to spend $15.
I know. And I did Sammy Ball at 4, Rigo at 5.
Okay, 9.
Okay. Jonathan Allen at 3.
Okay.
I did Randall L at 2, so then I have to do
you
Reed
have to
Doughty.
pick Reed Doughty.
Dag, my secondary. Oh my God. Well, I can't explain this one.
When we talked last time, you picked Crowder too.
Yeah, but I also picked like multiple wide receivers in that one. I didn't do it just by the line. Yeah.
Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah. I try to stick with, just down the line. So I got So mine is Sammy Ball. I got John Riggins at back, Sammy Ball at QB, Jonathan Allen at pass rush, wide receivers Randall L, and my safety is Reed Doughty.
Oh, you don't like interceptions and plays, do you?
No,
you just like tackles out there, right? No, but he's not going to get beat deep.
Exactly. There we go. My effort guy. Oh my God. Who do you have? Who's your safety guy?
This was kind of easy for me. I went Sean Taylor. So actually, what I've kind of seen here, my big theme is like what could have been between Stephen Davis and LeVar and now Sean Taylor. Like I'm all about like what could have been, but obviously in his time, I think for Sean, it was the fact that he could play multiple positions. I mean, he was kind of almost positionless for us out there, and he made just a huge impact. And he was only scratching the surface of what he could have done. So while I looked very hard at Darrell Green, it was like Sean Taylor might have, had he played here, like eclipsed Darrell Green in like all-time greatest Redskins. So
right. Yeah, love Darrell Green, and no, definitely would not minimize, everything that he brought to us. But even now, if you ask the random, or just average Washington fan who they remember more, Sean Taylor is going to be the name that comes up.
It is. Yeah. Put that clip back up because I actually had a chance to talk with Jack. He said he picked the entire $3 line, and I wrote back. I said, you can mix and match, and then I went, and he like shot back quickly, like, I know. I was like, actually, that $3 line's not bad.
Not bad.
No.
Yeah.
Because Mark Brunell, by the end of his, that year, his arm was kind of shot, but he did, he did get us some wins. And if you took Jacksonville Jaguars, Mark Brunell, then absolutely.
Exactly. And then you give him a defense, a young defense that's ready to go. A solid receiver in McLaurin, a nice little running game. Oh yeah. Oh, I like that. Yeah. Johnny Dean said he said Green, Ball, Portis, Crowder, and who else? Who's your defense? We have somebody that is not too thrilled with the list of quarterbacks. Catherine says, "Where is Cousins?" they don't have a 50 cent. Okay, Kat. So
you got Rex Grossman on there. At least you could. I mean, if Kirk Cousins was the $3 one, I'd probably pick him.
I could have finagled. I could have worked around
funny.
it. Yeah, buddy. So yeah, that's where we go. Let us know where you guys stand and what you guys are thinking, man. But what we do, man. We got to keep this thing moving right along.
Dun, 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 dun.
Let's go. The Washington Commanders. There it is.